Chris here. Welcome everybody. Thanks so much for coming by. We're doing another great video here. We're doing a beautiful flower and wine bottle in watercolor. Stick with us here. We're going to show you step by step how you're going to create this beautiful painting from the pencil drawing first, and then how you're going to create this painting step by step with the watercolor paints, how to mix the colors. We're going to show you the alla prima method. This is the alla prima method we're going to use here. So you're going to be able to kind of take a real good approach at doing this painting, having all of the steps that you need to learn as you go through this painting in a very logical way so that you're able to complete it. And then you can go over this composition a few times, 2 or 3 times, until you really get the feel for the alla prima method, and then how we're using our colors. First we're doing our pencil drawing, then we're mixing our colors in our palette. We're pre-mixing our colors on our palette first so that you can get all your colors ready to go, so that once you're getting in and doing your painting, you're already prepped and you have all your colors set, and then all you have to do is go in and do your creation of your painting and your washes once you're done with your pencil drawing. So I'm going to cover all that here in this video. Thanks so much for coming by, and if you're brand new and this is the first time you're here at my channel, welcome. Thanks so much. You're at the right place at the right time for watercolors. I do everything watercolors on this channel. We do flowers, still life, we do seascapes, landscapes, cityscapes, we do figure painting, everything watercolor. So come on by, join along with us. Feel free to hit that subscribe button on the right hand side. All it does is let you know when a new video comes out that I'm creating as we go each week and each month and each year as we're continuing on here on my channel. And you can always look up all my other archived videos on my channel, just Chris Petri on YouTube, and you'll see all my hundreds of videos that we've done before, compositions and beautiful paintings, all step-by-step videos that kind of walk you through all the steps you need to learn about watercolor. And once you're doing this on a consistent basis, you're going to learn watercolor, and it's just it'll be a lot of fun for you after you're painting a while, maybe 6 months or a year. You'll really be familiar with everything and be painting beautiful paintings as you go. Okay, so we're going to start in just a second, okay? And we'll begin in just a few seconds. Okay, we just saw the finished painting. Welcome everybody again. We're going to get started. So we're going to do our pencil sketch first. Let's get started here. So the first thing I'm going to do is try to establish maybe like our table. Maybe we're going to make like a table that we just looked at the finished painting. It's a bottle of wine with a little cup, like a coffee cup or a coffee mug or teacup with some flowers in it, and a bottle of wine. So let's get started with that idea of, let's find out where we're going to put our table, the edge of our table. So I'm going to say 1/3 down from the top. So let's say we're going to break our painting into thirds, 1/3, 2/3, and 3/3. So the bottom third, we're going to make our table. So let's just make a little line across here like that. So we have that. Then let's make a border around our painting like that. And I just kind of traced along the tape. So we have a tape border around here, a nice watercolor drafting tape, artist tape, drafting tape around the outside edges of our rectangle. This is more of a square. So we have more of a square shape here versus a rectangle. Okay, so now let's get started. Let's get the bottle of wine in first. Maybe we're going to make this over here. Maybe we'll start out with the flowers first. So let's start out with So I'm just going to do a coffee mug here. Okay, so we do a coffee mug there, like so. And then we're going to do we're going to start our leaf forms for our flowers here. We're going to just do maybe a single flower. And we're going to just get some leaves here. like so. And then we're going to do the flower as we go. And I hope you'll have fun with this and just so we have our flower there. Okay, so we have our flower here in the center of our arrangement here with some green leaves, and that looks pretty good. And then we're going to draw our wine bottle in here, so let's make our wine bottle over here. Okay, and we're just going to do our wine bottle like so. And then let's do our label here for our wine bottle. Like that. You know what? I think I should go a little further. Like that. There. That's better. The label is a little bit larger. I kind of shorten that up a little bit. And I just erase that a little. And then we're going to have the okay, so we're already really having a good time here. We're getting we have a wine bottle. Let's make a little bit of okay, so we're going to do a little bit of interesting. So I'm just doing some. The label here has some flowers and stems and leaf forms, so I want to get that onto the label. The rest of the label is pretty much white. And then this here is, there's some writing down here. So I just put a little bit of the writing down here. And I think this is pretty good. I'm going to also erase this bit of a line over here that we had with our mug. So this is our coffee mug or teacup. And our flowers here. So we're going to have a white flower here. And I think that looks pretty good. I erase a little bit. I usually try to just erase a few lines. Okay, so we got our contour drawing done. Coffee mug, flower, leaf forms around the flower, a nice white flower here. And a wine bottle here. We're going to make this like a really light green, golden light green type of bottle. The glass is going to be like a golden yellow type glass. Maybe some gold and some greens in here for that. And it should look really good. Maybe we'll just adjust a little bit of the leaf forms over here. But I think overall this looks pretty good. Okay, so let's take a break. We'll take a break here. I'm going to just get some of this set here, the edge of the table across. And this will be very loose, very free, very fun. You're going to see how just enjoyable this is, just to create a beautiful, simple composition of a flower inside of a coffee or teacup with a bottle of wine next to it. Simple composition. We're just going to have a fun time creating the color composition, which is going to be more of a simple blues and greens, maybe a little bit of golds and pinks, but most of all, let's keep it a nice green and blue, green and gold, let's say, green and gold composition with a little bit of some pinks and reds in there. But we'll kind of, you'll see as we go that we can make a really beautiful composition with simple color schemes, and we'll just use a nice mixture of colors that we can create from our palette here. And this is my standard palette. Anyone if you need to see my standard palette, you just look up Chris Petri palettes. As simple as that. You just type into YouTube Chris Petri palettes, and you'll see 10 or 15 videos where I cover all my colors of my palettes and what colors I use, what palettes I use. This is a standard palette I usually use on YouTube a lot. So let's come back in just a second. We'll take a break and then we'll start painting, okay? Okay, so we're getting started with our painting, and I'm going to use a Raphael Kolinsky Sable. A very simple brush to find if you're looking for brushes and you want to find a great watercolor brush. If you're more of in search of a really high quality brush, I use the Raphael. I've had this many years now, this number 6 Raphael Kolinsky Sable brush. It has the orange tip on it, which is very identifiable when you go online to look for it. And then this is as well very easy to find. If you're looking, you just find a travel brush, number 4. This is a Da Vinci travel brush, number 4. Kolinsky Sable travel brush, and it's plastic. And you can bring these out in the field if you're going to do some field studies and you want to do some outdoor painting. You can take your brush and you can put these in your pocket and in your backpack or your purse, and then you just, when you're ready to paint, you just remove it and you screw it together like so, and you have a brush ready to go. And then when you're done, you just simply take it apart, put it back. This way you don't get any problems with your brush, hairs, keeps it safe, your brush safe and sound, and then you put that into a purse or a backpack or your pocket. So these are really nice brushes to use. I usually take these out with me when I'm doing outdoor paintings. So these are the travel brushes by Da Vinci. Fantastic brushes. So I use these also in the studio. So we'll try to tackle this painting with these two brushes, the 4 and the 6. And we'll start out with the 6, maybe first. And we'll start to just get some colors on. So again, we said we wanted to go with some gold and some greens. So I'm going to get some greens over here. Sap green over here. Maybe some olive green there. Maybe I'll put some of that olive green down here. Maybe a little cerulean blue, just to kind of have a little bit of a coolness to that even cool green that we're doing there. It's a golden green and then some more cool green there with some cerulean blue. And so what I'm doing is basically putting out my colors on my palette first, and then some blue, French ultramarine blue, with a little bit of burnt sienna maybe, just to dull down that blue a little bit. And some more blue, maybe a little bit of green, sap green in there too. So I think we have a good mixture of colors there. Maybe a little bit of some cadmium lemon yellow over here. So you can see I have quite a bit of mixtures on here, and this is, I always, if you follow me, you'll know that when on YouTube I try to give my best top secret information when it comes to painting. So one of the top things I always say is try to get your colors out onto your palette first. Kind of think about the scene, whatever you're painting, whether you're painting from photographs or other people's artwork, watercolor books from other teachers, my videos, other people's videos, whatever you're looking up and using for your subject matter, it doesn't matter what it is, try to look at it first and say, what colors are you seeing? And then try to just get those out onto your palette like we did here first. So you kind of have your colors out and planned out. And this way, when you start to paint, you already have your colors all set and ready to go. And then it's just a matter of if you use up one color, you'll just say, oh, all right, I used all this color up, but I remember it was sap green I put over here. So I wanted to add more. So you add more sap green to that area that you depleted when you were painting. So you just kind of keep following that same rule of thumb. Over here, we had yellow ochre. So if you run out of some yellow ochre here, you just go back in and say, oh, what was here? Oh, yeah, yellow ochre. Let me put some more in there in the palette because I'm running out and I'm still painting, so I need more. And that's what you do. And then you just keep working like that. And you'll find that you'll have really good success with your paintings from the start because you've got everything out on your palette. And this is much like an oil painter would do. Great oil painters will take their palette. You ever see them? They have their palette in their arm, in their hands, and they take all their paints and they start squeezing out their two paints on their big palette they have in their on their arm. You know, they have one of those big palettes, and they put all their colors out and they start mixing them all, getting them where they want them to be, and then they start their painting, and then they have everything all ready to go, and they start working, and then they might add some colors and mix some colors as they go, but for the most part, they start out with all of their colors there. So that's all you have to remember. Is that pretty easy to remember? It's easy to remember. Just get your basic colors you're going to use out on your palette, and you're going to be so happy because you're going to know you've got half the work done already. You've got your colors out there, and you kind of can see what you're going to have to use. So now if you're painting this painting and you're going to use my painting as your subject matter, so maybe at the beginning of the video you're going to hit pause and paint from my painting, you're going to just follow this video and say, okay, what colors did Chris put out on his palette? And you just follow that and say, okay, sap green, he put there, you know, you put your sap green in your palette. And then what else did I use? Okay, some yellow ochre, then some French ultramarine blue mixed with some burnt sienna. Maybe we're going to add some Prussian blue in there too. Give it a little bit of more interesting variation with blues. And then what else do we use? Now we used yellow ochre, raw umber, cerulean blue we used. We put some cerulean blue here. And then we went in and got some cadmium lemon yellow, which is that really bright yellow. So you can kind of see we have everything all set here, ready to go. Maybe even some purple here. Let's add some purple up here. That even adds some more exciting mixtures of colors there with our darker blues and so forth. All right, so let's start out. So I'm going to start out here on the leaf forms around the flower. And again, I'm resting my hand on the paper at all times with my hand resting firmly on the paper. And then I just take my brush and I set it down onto the areas that I want to paint and start to add my paint, like so. And I rinse off my brush, and again, I always have my tissue at hand here. You can use it. You can use some sponge next to your water pail, and you can take, you swish off your brush and your water pail, and then you can tap it on a bit of sponge next to your water container, or if you want, you can swish off your brush, clean off your brush, and then go and tap onto a piece of tissue. Or if I have an apron on, a lot of times I'll swish off my brush, clean off my brush in the water pail, and then I'll tap on my chest almost with my apron. So I have an apron on, and I just touch my apron quick, and that's how I get the brush a little dry, so we don't have too much water on the brush, and then you work around your painting just like that. Rinse off the brush, dry off a little bit of water, pick up some like that, and then you let the watercolor work for you like that. A little bit of gold. So here we're just mixing our colors and And I'm working around the white flower. And I'm going to try to mix in some different colors here. So you can kind of see I'm just working around that flower, that white flower in the center. Rinse off the brush, dry off a little bit of paint. We don't want too much paint on there. And then we're going to go in with some more. There we go. And I'm just working around this flower, and then maybe I'm going to take a damp brush. So I just take the brush, rinse it off, and I dry off a little bit of paint on my tissue. And then maybe I'll just kind of start to, maybe the light's coming this way. So let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Let's put our light insignia up here. So we try to do this when we're doing our paintings. We try to take a light insignia all the time. This is just a good habit to have. Where's my light coming from? Where's your light coming from in your painting? Try to remember that, that's all. And so we put the little light insignia up here, just to remember. So we'll know where to put our shadows, and so we'll have a little bit of shadows there. And then maybe a little bit of alizarin crimson here. And then we just add a little alizarin crimson to the, maybe a little orange, cadmium red, orange, cadmium red. And we just do a little bit of and this will lighten up. So if you go with this kind of a bit of, if you do these little bit of shadows and fun things like this in your flower, in the center of your flower, the main thing is please try to leave white paper within the center of your flower. Don't paint everything in solid. So you see how I'm kind of going and leaving white paper in there. And I have some of that beautiful red, and so I mixed up some cadmium red, alizarin crimson, and I added that over here, a little bit of orange maybe I used. So if you just add a little touch of that, that really looks exciting in that flower. And it's going to look lighter. It's right now a little darker. That will lighten up and look much lighter. So let's leave that like it is, and let's continue. And we're just going to do some more leaf forms here. I'm going with those darker leaf forms there. And then again, we're going to go with some sap green up here, some sap green and some blue, French ultramarine blue. And maybe there's another bit of okay, and we get a little, I tend to like a couple splashes as we go, just to loosen up. There we go. Put a couple splashes around. If you don't like splashes, you just don't have to do it. Don't do things you don't want to do. You're the artist. You decide what you like in your paintings. The thing is to use the things you like from other artists, and if there's things you want to change within your paintings, then you can do it a little differently as you would go. And okay. And let's take some of this golden color here, maybe a little blue. And I'm going to put a little shadow over here, some gold. So have some gold and some blue and like that. Then I'll dry off the brush, rinse off the brush, dry it off on some paper towel, and then I'll just kind of soften out this color here, like that. And we'll leave this white paper on the right side of the coffee cup. And then what else are we going to have here? Let's say cerulean blue, a little bit of purple, a little bit of gold. And I'm just going to make a shadow here along this bottom of the cup and the mug there, like that. And that's all, just a little bit of blue, purple, like that. Just some shadow colors. And work that over a little bit. And we're going to do a little shadowing under there. All right, let's continue on here. Some gold. Let's start working in our, and some green, golden green. Let's use gold and green in our wine bottle. And that label is going to be pretty much white, but we'll add a little shade to it. And some like that. And then let's do some shadow. There we go. A little shadow on our wine bottle. Like that. Just a suggestion of it. Nothing too, radical. And if you find you have too much of a shadow over there, you just lift up with the tissue. The light's coming again from here, so shadow's going to be over here more or less. All right, so we're coming along really well here. I hope you're having fun with this painting, and we're going to take a quick break. I like to take breaks, as you know. And are you taking breaks out there when you're working? I hope you are. Please let me know if you're taking breaks. I hope you will take breaks as you work, because it really... Sometimes we work and work and work on our watercolor paintings, and the next thing you know, we're sort of getting fatigued and we start to get off track and we can make mistakes. And so let's not push our luck. Let's try to see if we can keep things going good without too much problems. Okay. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come right back. We'll pick back up again. And I always, like to mention a few things. One, keep a track of what type of painting are you doing. What is your technique and method for each individual painting you're doing? This one here, we're doing alla prima. So let's write that right at the top. Alla prima. What that means basically is we're painting this all at one time. Yes, we're painting this all at one time. We're not doing any glazings and letting it dry and coming back, half an hour later, or using a blow dryer. Alla prima is we're painting it all at one time as we're going through our painting. And you can see how we did that. We did our pencil drawing first, and then we just went right in and started doing our darkest darks first. So we went in and did our darkest darks first, and then we started working in our lighter washes here. And you can see we're working around the painting, but essentially it's all at one time, alla prima. So that's our technique this time. Usually we use 2 different techniques on my channel all the time, and you're going to learn both of them as you stick with me week after week, month after month, and year after year. Eventually you're going to be an expert at alla prima and an expert at the glazing technique, the 2 main techniques that you need to learn as a watercolor artist and have a total 100% grasp of. So once you have those 2 techniques and methods down pat, alla prima and the glazing technique, those 2 together, you can combine them together or you can stick with one or the other. You can interchange, but once you learn both of those techniques really solid, which you will learn on my channel if you're sticking here week after week, month after month, and year after year, you can't learn it in a couple weeks. It takes time. It takes at least 1 year. Give yourself a couple years and you'll be really, really cooking and doing a great job and creating beautiful paintings. So you got to give it have some patience with yourself. Don't get hard on yourself and quit and throw all your stuff away and throw your art supplies out the window and get frustrated. Take some time. It takes time. Just have fun with it. Do a little bit at a time. If you have too much of a issue with doing too many things in one painting, just try the flower in the coffee mug, or just try the wine bottle by itself on a piece of paper, on a piece of watercolor paper. Okay? Don't get worried. Don't get frustrated. Have fun with this. That's the whole point of watercolor, is we're here together having a fun time. And then you can go back to all your stressful things every day that you have to deal with, which we all have to deal with. So, all right, have fun with this. We'll be right back, and we'll try to finish up. I think the next 15 or 20 minutes, we should be able to wrap this up and finish things. Okay? All right, we'll be right back. All right, are we having fun here? I hope we are. That's the main point of my videos. Have fun with watercolors. It's really a great medium, a lot of fun. I know you're doing a great job out there. Again, you're just, if you're a brand new watercolor artist, I want to welcome you. If this is your very first time coming to one of my videos, I want to welcome you and thank you for coming by. Just stick with me here. I always mention, feel free, please. You can subscribe on the bottom of the screen here on the right-hand side. There's a subscribe button. All that's going to do is just alert you the next time you open up your YouTube application on your phone or your computer. It'll just say, hey, Chris made a new video whenever we make a new video. That's all it is. It doesn't mean that we're going to send emails to you or anything like that. That's not what subscribe means. Subscribe on YouTube just means YouTube will send you an alert that I made a new video, and that's all it is. There's no emails, no text messages, no phone calls, any crazy stuff like that. We all are sick and tired of that kind of a thing anyway. With our cell phones and emails and people sending us things, we're sick and tired of it. But YouTube isn't like that. They just, when you subscribe on YouTube and you click the notification bells, there's a notification bell. You click that notification bell, and again, it just alerts you that we made a new video, and that's all it is. So I like to always make you at ease to know that you're not being bamboozled into anything of something like, having to answer emails or text messages on your phone. That doesn't work that way. YouTube is a great application. It basically just alerts you that we're making new videos, art videos, so you can have fun and join along with us, watch. Maybe you're going to pick up your brushes and your art supplies and join along with us. I hope you're doing that. And if you're brand new, then you're going to be going out and maybe purchasing some brushes and paints. And I have all kinds of videos on that. You can just look back on my archives in my YouTube channel. You just type in Chris Petri, anything. Chris Petri palette, Chris Petri paints, Chris Petri brushes. All these things, you just type in my name with whatever you want to learn about. Brushes, Chris Petri brushes, Chris Petri palette. Anything like that, you'll see I have 5 or 10 videos on all of those subjects that you might want to learn about on watercolor as you're getting up to speed and learning about it. That's all. And I also have the new Extreme Beginners series, which you'll really enjoy that if you're just for the first time coming here. If you type in Extreme Beginners Watercolor with Chris Petri or just Extreme Beginners, you'll see my videos. That's more or less, you're starting out with more simple brushes, more inexpensive art gear, because you might not want to spend hundreds of dollars on new art supplies if you don't know if you're going to enjoy watercolor or stick with it. But when you're starting out, you can start out with some simple, inexpensive brushes. For $5, you can get 5 brushes, 4 or 5 brushes in one pack. These are the brushes you get when you buy a pack for $5 or $6 or $10. Princeton Art and Company brushes. So I always mention that these are different videos. I have different, a series for beginners, as well as this is more of a advanced series. But even if you're a beginner and just starting out, you can work on these type of paintings too. Don't feel you can't try these videos or try these exercises and compositions. Try these compositions too when you're working in watercolor. If you find they're too difficult, then you can maybe stick more with the more beginner style watercolors. But these here are pretty straightforward too. So I hope you'll try these as well. So let's continue on here. And I'm going to change my water. So I change my water out 2 or 3 times during a painting. Fresh, clean water. My paints here in my palette, we're pretty much using the same colors over and over, but I like to keep my palette tidy and clean too, so I'll sort of wipe up the colors, and this way we can start off with more fresher colors as we go, and we'll see what happens. All right, so we're going to go with some olive green. We're going to get back into our green here. Sap green, olive green, maybe some yellow ochre in there too. And then we're mixing some of our colors we used before. French ultramarine blue, Prussian blue, and what else did we use? Some cadmium lemon yellow over here, some really bright lemony yellow there. And we can continue on here. I think we're doing a pretty good job of getting our colors. So we're going to do our bottle of wine here. So let's continue. And then some gold. Let's try some golden color. And then when you're rinsing off your brush, you're going to need to check off a little water either on a tissue. And again, I mentioned this a couple times during the video, so you kind of get used to the process of things. I think I had a sponge over here. I think it fell onto the floor. I don't see it right now, but you can use paper towels, tissues, a sponge, and you can kind of start to again, I rinse my brush, dry off on the napkin or paper towel or tissue, so we can kind of start to, and I leave a couple white spots of paper on there for like highlights, like that. And then here maybe let's do some sap green and some yellow ochre. And that's the top of our bottle there. And we'll take some more paint and just kind of change things up a little bit here. Maybe some more sap green up here. And so I'll do a couple little accents around the label here. So that's always a good thing, to try to enhance some of the Okay, the label is white, so we're going to leave that white. And then maybe we'll put a little golden color over here. And then maybe we'll take a little bit of yellow ochre, like that, put it on the paper, rinse off the brush, clean, fresh water, dry off the brush a little on the tissue. And then maybe you're just going to just get a little bit of light, super light wash on the side of this label over here, and then maybe a little cerulean blue, add a little blue to that, maybe even a little bit of the red, cadmium red, alizarin crimson, put a little bit of that too, to add a little excitement, like that. And then let's make a little shadowing over here. So yellow ochre and sap green and olive green. And let's make a little bit of background color over here. And some cerulean blue. Like that. Then we take that up and just blend it up like this. And I'm going to lift up a little paint with my tissue. And maybe we'll go with a little blue there. A little bit of an interesting color there, just to give a little bit of excitement there. And let's see, let's go over here. We're going to try to make a bit of a line across here where the edge of the table is. So that's why I'm working this color here like this, so that we have some definition along that table. And I could take some cerulean blue there, maybe. And then again, if I have my colors infiltrating, I just do that. So you can do that when you're painting and you see a color. That starts to cross over a line. Like if you have your edge of your table and you put a little bit of wash on, like we're doing here, to get your edge of your table. So this is the table, you know, the bottle of wine and your coffee cup or teacup with your flower. If you're starting to paint your background color along the edge of your table and you see that some of your color starts to flood into your table cloth or your table, you can always use your tissue and just blot up like that if it starts to, you know, flow into the table area. And then also you have a secondary option. Once that happens, try to lift up a little bit with your tissue, and then once that's done, then you can go ahead at the end of the very, very end of your painting, when everything is 100% dry, you can use some titanium white and use some white paint to touch up your edges of your table, let's say, if you think it needs to be. So you can you have a couple options as you go to try to recapture some things that you have going on your painting if you're trying to and a little bit of orange. I like orange, looks great. Kind of that beautiful warm color orange. All right, I think we're really at the home stretch here. Okay, we're going to need to let this dry a little bit. So I would say at this point, let's let this dry now. We have a lot of work done on this painting, this composition. So let's let this dry 100%. Then we can come back in and we can actually add the details on the wine bottle, on the label of the wine bottle, because this is still wet. I can feel it. It's very damp. So now's not a good time to go in and do details on this. So let's let this dry. This over here looks good. And I think that looks fine. All right, so we're going to be right back. We're going to take about a half an hour break or 20 minutes, unless you have a blow dryer and you want to blow dry everything off quick. Again, if you're doing just a composition, you're trying to do your practice time in here and you're trying to get your compositions done and practice up on everything, that's fine. You get a blow dryer, you dry it off now at this point, and then you can go back in and just finish your details on your label for your wine bottle, and you're all set. And you have your finished painting. You can sign it, put it in a frame, hang it up, give it as a gift, have a great time with it. We're all about having fun here on this channel, so have some fun with your watercolors. Do whatever you want. Save it, put it in a folder. If it comes out really good, I say put it in a frame and hang it up on the wall. And this way, you know, you have some really cool paintings. You put them up on your wall. It shows your progress. And then if maybe a year down the line you create even a much better painting, then you take this one down. Maybe you sell it or you give it as a gift or something like that, and you put your better paintings up on your wall. So you just keep, you know, moving ahead. Better paintings go up on the wall. Your paintings that you're not... you know, if you have paintings that you think a year from now, you might be painting paintings and you'll say, wow, those ones I did a year ago, they don't look all that great. Well, that's no problem. They're still good. Keep them for mementos for yourself. Save them and keep them in a little folder, or even put them in a little small like portfolio type folder where you can put them in sleeves, and plastic sleeves, maybe put some paper. We'll go over that in the future, okay? So we'll do future videos. We'll go over how you can archive and save some of your compositions that you do as you're working on them, you know, and then some of the ones that are really fantastic that you create, you put those in frames. Make sure you're framing some of your paintings that are looking really good, because, you know, you have to promote yourself and feel good about your paintings, and put them up on the wall when they're looking good, okay? So remember to do that, and we'll go over that as well. We're going to cover how to frame a painting, how to mat and frame a painting. It's very simple. We'll show you how to do it here. Okay, so I'll be right back once this dries. We'll finish up this label for our wine bottle, and we'll be all set. You'll have a finished painting. Okay, so we'll be right back. All right, Chris Petri here. We're finishing up our painting. I'm going to use this smaller brush now, the number 4, to do some details on the wine bottle here. There's a little bit of script and a little bit of flowers and leaf forms over here. So let's just do that. Let's get the last bit of our details in our painting completed. And if you ever have any issues with your paintings, we can also touch up with a little bit of white, which we'll do. We'll use some of our titanium white to touch up a couple issues that we might have had. So we'll take a look, and we'll use our burnt sienna, burnt umber, and French ultramarine blue for our darkest dark. And then we're just going to do, now when we do details, I tend to mention this, when I do details, try to, when you're doing like your like labels or writing or different like small details, do them fast. Don't try to finesse them too much. I think that looks like more, doesn't look as pleasing and pleasant if you try to labor over details. Whenever you see some really fine details in your painting, try to do them really loose, really fun. Just flick the paint on. It looks much better. You'll notice here. Watch how I do this. This is a really big tip. It really helps your details in your paintings look much better. They look much more free, much more fun looking, versus trying to suffer over doing something really, too much in detail, or really trying to do something really carefully. In a sense, try to do things a little more carefree. just kind of, flick some things on, have some carefree brush strokes. Looks much better. So now I'm going to do that. I'm going to take so it's a B, and an A, and a C, and a C. Back, it says BACCH for the wine bottle, for the label. So let me just do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, B, A, C, C. Good. There we have it. Okay. Very simple, very quick. Not too much fussing around. That's going to get us into trouble. And then some cadmium red and some burnt sienna and burnt umber. Like this. And then there's some flowers here, like so. Quickly I do that. Okay, good. Now there's some, I'll use some Viridian green with some of that blue that we had before mixed in there. Maybe some cerulean blue and some Viridian green. And then we're going to do some of the finer leaf forms here, like that. Good. And again, I rinse off the brush, dry off a little bit of the paint on the tissue, and then I look over there and I say, okay, there's a little bit of a flower, like that, and I flow that right into the background. And maybe a little more dry off the brush. So here it's completely dry brush, and we just do some more. And I think that's good. Then we have a little more writing on the bottom. Again, I rinse off my brush, dry off the brush on the tissue, and just pick up a little bit of paint. And I'm just going to do a little pretend writing there, just so we have a little bit of some script and print on the bottom of the label there. And I think that looks good. I think everything looks fine. Okay, now we talked about maybe trying to just touch up a few spots with some titanium white. If you lose a couple spots where you see some paint that flowed down into some of your flower areas, or if you want to add a highlight or something to another portion of your painting, this is the time to do it. We take a little bit of yellow ochre, and we put that yellow ochre, just a touch of it, in the top of the titanium white top of the tube. Take our brush, dip it in there with a bit of a yellow ochre, and then here we can do this. We can touch up that flower where we saw that blue paint leak down into the and then over here, maybe the label. If your label got a little bit disturbed by some washes, you can fix that too. So I just take my titanium white, put the brush in there, a little bit titanium white with a little yellow ochre, and you can touch up a little bit of the label if you have to, like that. Other than that, I think everything looks fine. It looks good. And I hope you'll try this composition. Have a great time with it. And we'll peel off the tape and kind of see how this looks once we peel off the tape and see a little bit of a border around it. We'll try that, see how that looks. Okay. Well, I hope you had fun. This is all about having a great time with watercolors. Enjoy. We'll see you on the next video. And again, I always appreciate all of your great comments in the comment section of my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for all the great and kind words that everyone has sent to me, saying thank you and saying, you know, that you're really enjoying all the content here we have on my channel. It really bolsters my enthusiasm to keep coming back and making more videos. So again, it's a really big uplifting thing to be in the comment section all the time replying to your messages, and I want to thank you for that, and also for your insightful comments and suggestions. And we're going to see you on the next video, okay? Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.